Hey, it's Zolt, and welcome back to another episode of Warcraft Weekly. Hit the like button, subscribe for more coverage, and it's patch day, so you ain't got a lot of time, I ain't got a lot of time, so we're just gonna quick fire right through and get back to some gaming. Patch 10.1 is live worldwide, unleashing the new zone, the beginnings of a new upgrade progression system, and as usual, players flooded in, eager to slam the new content and start preparing for the new season in typical World of Warcraft fashion. Or did they? Unlike previous seasons and expansions, that promise of power hasn't come the way that some had expected, at least not yet. Folks are used to having things like artifact level caps to break into, and essences to unlock, new soulbind rows, and legendaries to start earning, and Torghast difficulties to open up so you can farm them. In other words, people were hoping and expecting for some required grind to binge on and to complain about, or to binge on while complaining about it. Notice that my usual meticulous step-by-step guide to obtaining all the things that you need to maximize your power progression hasn't really been a thing. Instead, you've heard me talk about barter bricks, because that's about as far as it goes. Many of us are used to the mathematical optimization of power gains early in a season, so it came as a shock that some did not expect. Collectively, folks were like, hey Blizz, where's the content? But also, hey, thanks for not making us feel forced to do things that we don't want to, Blizz. It's a different kind of Preseason, as it's been called since Battle for Azeroth when seasons first became a thing. This specific trend started in patch 8.2 with this week-long period before the actual season starts, giving us time, but not too much time to get acclimated with what's new, with, the new zone, new system, the class changes, and so on and so forth, but no endgame not yet. This is the first preseason in 4 years where there's no fangled system of player power for us to figure out and calculate so we don't fall behind or get left out of groups and are left to complain about this on social media. Meaning this time around, folks who live in the typical endgame were plowing through quests feeling a little bit unfulfilled, seeing gear that has no use, flight stones with nothing to spend them on, crests that don't apply to them. My personal feedback: maybe we should have Mythic Zero versions of the new season dungeons available, so players can have a chance to warm up or shake off some of that rust. Meanwhile, others who are just coming back to World of Warcraft after a break, or if they're rolling a brand new character for the season, I think they're having a great time. They're picking up gear that they can upgrade while bumming around the Dragon Isles for other items and resources that are still relevant. I'm having a great time too. Instead of just focus on and maximizing my main, I'm focused on the profession side of things, making gold and getting materials together across my alts to help out the guild once the season starts. So, as usual, it's a mixed bag, but I'd like to think that overall this has been a healthy and successful preseason because it lacks those scheduled must-dos for player power. Returning to me as the example, for the first time in memory, I'm playing my alts actively when I'm used to focusing entirely on my main, because if I didn't, I'd feel like I'm missing out. I could say that my main has run out of things to do, that's pretty much a fact, but I can draw two conclusions from this. One, that's okay, yeah, there wasn't too much to do for me during the preseason, but second, I can put time into my alts. This overall has been very different for me, mostly in a good way, but now for your story, your perspective. How are you enjoying this first week so far? Earlier this week, over on the EU side of the game, the trading post updated with an unusual error. Certain items that weren't supposed to be available popped up with, well, pretty hilarious results. Since then, that was resolved, but it turns out those appearances officially launched as an in-game bundle called the Guardian Pack. It's a simple 3-piece set that includes a hood, a cloak, and a staff, and it goes for $8 US. But the real news is on the fine print, that this set is going to be made available on the trading post sometime between September and December of this year, which probably means the pieces are going to be spread out over time. This is a new and interesting approach from the WoW team, as it gives players options. They can buy it now before it kind of sort of goes away, or they can wait and pick up the pieces that they want at no additional cost whenever they feel like it during the time period or whenever it rotates back in. It also gives us a bit to think about. If we buy these items with cash or BattleNet balance, we could effectively save the tender that we would otherwise spend. So it's a pretty clever and insidious move if this is an indication of how shop items are going to be treated going forward. It's like the WoW team saying, pay up and get this appearance now, or stay subscribed, as in paying the subscription fee, and get it for, quote, free. The optional approach and transparency are what makes this whole whole thing compelling. The actual transmog, not for me, but if or when they come out with an awesome sword and shield combo, I'll get back to you. We're going to learn about Blizzcon Soon is the kind of tepid but hopeful response from Blizzard boss Mike Ibarra with regards to the convention last seen in 2019. 2019! We still had JL and Brack back then, and we were really eager to travel to the Shadowlands, yeah? According to Ibarra's tweet, we're going to learn more in roughly 2 weeks, and depending on the circumstances, travel plans will be made, and diets will be had, because it's been a long time since chicken and waffles, and I'm going to train my body to be a weapon of mass consumption. I'm gonna keep an open mind. There's a chance that BlizzCon might not take place at the time or even place that we're familiar with, but for now, let's assume that thousands are gonna descend on Anaheim this coming November. With how the Dragonflight schedule is moving, it's not so unreasonable to see patch 10.2 be live well before BlizzCon, reserving plenty of space to announce WoW's next expansion. Yes, believe it or not, all the indicators are lined up for this to happen. WoW's 10th expansion announcement to release on its 20-year anniversary. I don't know what to expect, but I'm feeling an early sense of hype, and definitely looking forward to how they're going to announce this at BlizzCon. Blizzard wants to use AI-generated artwork to flesh out its game's world, according to a headline by Gamerant. According to them, Blizzard unveiled a patent that utilizes machine learning to take images and create its own. Now, this comes as the conversations and debate and the industry around AI are blowing up, and I do want to point out that putting Blizzard and AI in the same sentence makes for some very tempting clickbait. So I want to put the brakes on this and immediately ask, is that what's going on here? Is Blizzard really going to replace its artists, and are they investing into AI to say, hey computer, create a game world with assets and a decent plot? I tried reading through the actual patent. I failed. But several users on Twitter were quick to point out that while patents like this can easily start conversations about AI someday being overused to subvert creativity, and those conversations ought to go on, the immediate intent here is different. Let's say an artist makes a new helmet for the game, and it looks great on this human male. Now though, that artist has to retool that helmet so it fits properly on a human female, along with every other playable race capable of wearing a helmet. Parts of this process, not the whole thing, but parts of this process need to be redone nearly 40 times. Now, think of when a new race is introduced into the world of Warcraft. Someone, maybe an artist, is going to have to review existing items and tweak them to make sure that a helmet sits correctly on the head, and weapons are held the right way, and they gotta do this for thousands and thousands of pieces of weapons and armor. But what if the artist could instead program some tool to be like, okay, tool, computer thing, here are 1,000 helmets, and here is the head or the two heads that these are going to sit on, make these compatible, and the program just does it. And then the artist just needs to review what the tool has done and make tweaks from there. These sorts of tools let the artist worry less about the busy work that goes into art and game dev, so they can put more time into the creative processes that help bring a world to life. How should the zone reveal itself when a player first walks into it? What kind of story does this cluttered room tell? Should we add more spikes? All of those, okay, most of those are decisions that aren't really left to AI. And AI is still a tricky conversation in video games because, as a very emotion-based industry, we want to feel good about whatever it is that we're experiencing. We don't want it to be made by something fake. Some folks are super hardliners who will gripe over every development shortcut that they see, from seeing the same cave interiors to seeing two different mounts that use the same skeleton model. We'd love to think that all games and every element of it is handcrafted. Others also really care if they know that game devs are crunching long and hard hours, and they couldn't care less if they resorted to using tools and automation to handle some of the more mundane work. I don't think anyone is actively looking to replace artists with AI, but to give them new tools to bring their imaginations to our screens. And that's the show. So why am I so busy with WoW? Why am I playing with alts of all things? While there isn't a borrowed power thing for anyone to chase, there are things to go for in the form of professions. Folks like me have been kind of chasing for these barter bricks to unlock recipes, some of which have been unfortunately unlocked earlier than what they should have due to bugs, and some folks were taking advantage of them. I'm pretty happy with the overall execution of the patch though, because I in fact do have a lot to do during the preseason to make lots of gold and to help out my team. Like, folks have been selling the new glow spore material, and they've been selling Onyxia scale cloaks of all things to unlock what is is essentially what I believe a toy, and many more players are lying in wait, speculating when materials are going to go up in price, buying up what's cheap and holding on to them before the season begins, when the demand for goods like enchanting materials and awakened materials, it's bound to shoot up, but will prices go up along with it? It's impossible to say, but the fun comes with finding out. Next week, I'm going to take you through what's unleashed with Season 2, along with the guide that'll answer all of your questions about gear upgrades in this season, now that you're getting a taste of it now. Another round of Twitch drops are coming too, so just like this week, I'm going to be on as much as I can to help you run that clock and keep you company while you do whatever it is that you do. I'm very, very grateful to all of you who joined me over on Twitch for subscribing and to help me pass the time too. I appreciate that. More thanks to our patrons who keep all of this running, and to you, viewer, thank you for making it to the end. It helps the algorithm, and I couldn't ask for more, just kidding. Hit that like button, subscribe for more coverage, catch me live, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.